Night guard, why aren't you taking your nap? Rule breaker. You can't sleep. How dare you? I'm not scary at all. Fine, I can help you sleep. I have some stories in my databanks. I can tell you some of them. But only if you promise that afterwards you sleep. Got it? All right then. Let's do this. Once upon a time, in a deep and ancient forest. Are you asleep yet? Figures. Fine. Once upon a time, in a deep and ancient forest, there lived a skilled hunter named Freddy. Freddy was known throughout the land for his prowess with a bow and arrow, and he had hunted all sorts of creatures, from wild boars to ferocious alligators. But there was one creature that had always eluded Freddy, a magical white wolf. They were said to possess incredible powers. The wolf was swift and elusive, and despite Freddy's best efforts, had never been able to get close enough to take a shot. One day, as Freddy was stalking through the forest, he finally caught sight of the white wolf up ahead. His heart quickened with excitement, and he carefully drew his weapon, taking aim. However, as he looked at the wolf through his sights, something strange happened. He felt a strange sense of unease, as if something deep inside him was telling him not to do it. He hesitated, his finger poised, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. And then, the wolf looked at him with bright, otherworldly eyes. Freddy felt a sense of awe in that moment, of wonder that he had never experienced before. And then, in a sudden burst of movement, the white wolf darted off into the forest, disappearing into the trees as if it had never been there at all. Freddy stood there for a moment, bow still drawn, a feeling of disappointment, but relief flooding through his mind. He knew he had come close to catching the elusive creature, but at the same time, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had done the right thing by sparing her life. As he made his way back to his home in the forest, Freddy couldn't stop thinking about the white wolf. He knew that he had been given a rare and precious gift, the gift of an encounter most magical. And so, Freddy settled down to rest for the night. And somehow he felt grateful. And as if this experience had changed his understanding of the world just a tiny bit. Night guard, how dare you still be awake? Too exciting? That story was too exciting. Oh, I give you exciting, night guard. Long ago, in a distant land, there was a beautiful princess named Roxanne. She was beloved by all the people in the kingdom for a kind heart and gentle nature. However, one day an evil dragon named Montgomery appeared and laid waste to the land, destroying everything in his path. The dragon was cunning and powerful, and none of the knights of the kingdom could defeat it. In a last desperate attempt, the king announced that whoever could slay the beast would be granted the hand of his daughter in marriage. Many brave adventurers tried, but none succeeded. They all fell to the fire and claws of the creature. Until one day, a young man named William arrived in the kingdom. He was a skilled ninja assassin and warrior. His heart was full of bravery and determination to defeat the dragon, save the princess. William spent weeks preparing for the battle, studying the dragon's movements and practicing his swordsmanship. Once he felt ready, he put on his purple mask and set out to face the dragon. With the king's blessing and the people's hopes resting on his shoulders. The battle was fierce and intense, with the dragon breathing fire, slashing at William with its razor-sharp claws. However, the man was quick and nimble, dodging the dragon's attacks, landing powerful blows with his sword. Finally, after a long and grueling battle, William dealt the final blow to Montgomery, plunging his sword deep into its heart. The dragon roared and collapsed to the ground. With the dragon defeated, William rushed to the tower where the princess was being held captive. He climbed the stairs to the top of the tower and found Roxanne locked away in a small room with no windows or doors. Using his blade, he cut down the door and lifted the princess in his arms, carrying her out of the tower down to safety. And the kingdom rejoiced at the defeat of Montgomery and the safe return of the beloved princess. In gratitude, the king granted William the hand of his daughter in marriage, and they lived happily ever after, ruling their given land with fairness and kindness. And the man's bravery and courage was never forgotten. What's with that look on your face? What do you mean, who is William? It's a name in my databank. It doesn't matter who William is. Also, sleep already? You want one more? A longer one? Oh, I can do a longer one. Just sit tight. Close your eyes. Good. Good. I will get you a blanket. Just give me a moment. There we go. Night guard. Now sleep while I tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a far, far away land, there was a simple farmer named Brian. No, not Brian from the day shift. It's just, you know what? No, he gets a different name now. That's your fault. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a simple farmer named Jacob. He lived a peaceful life, tending to his crops and livestock, and enjoying the simple pleasures of nature. But one day, everything changed when he met a strange creature, a goblin, a female one at that. Her name was Chica. Chica was unlike any other creature Jacob had ever seen. She was small, weary, with pointed ears and green skin, bright yellow eyes that sparkled with pure mischief. At first, Jacob was afraid of her, thinking she was a mere monster who might ruin his crops or even hurt him. But as he got to know her, he realized that Chica was not so different from him and other humans after all. As it turns out, Chica had wandered into Jacob's farm by accident, having gotten lost in the woods. She was hungry and tired. Jacob offered her some bread and water, but she graciously accepted. As they talked, Jacob discovered that Chica was actually quite charming and funny for a small green creature. And she had a great sense of humor and a love for adventure, which the man found both fascinating and quite endearing. Weeks passed. Jacob and Chica spent more and more time together. She would often come to the farm to help the farmer with his work or tell him stories about her tribe in the forest. And the man found himself looking forward to her visits and even started to feel a little bit lonely when she wasn't around. It wasn't until one warm summer evening, as they were sitting beneath the stars, that Jacob realized he had fallen in love with Chica. He couldn't believe it at first, thinking that he was going crazy, feeling feelings for a mere goblin. But the more he thought about it, the more he realized that Chica was not just any goblin. She was special, but he couldn't imagine life without her anymore. Though there was one tiny problem. Goblins were not accepted in human society. They were dangerous, unpredictable creatures. They would never expect a relationship between a human and a goblin. Jacob knew that if he wanted to be with Chica, he would have to overcome not only his own doubts and fears, but also some prejudices of his community to at least accept a singular goblin as little fault. As the days went by, closer and closer, he started to dream about the future. The man imagined a life where he and Chica could be together, working the farm, raising a family. But every time he mentioned the idea to Chica, she would laugh and shake her head, telling him that it was an impossibility. One night, as they were sitting by the fire, Jacob finally mustered up the courage to tell Chica how he felt. He confessed his love, begged her to consider possibilities of a future together. At first, the goblin was surprised and a little bit scared. She never thought about falling in love, especially with a human before. Wasn't even sure it was possible. But then, she looked into his eyes, those beautiful green eyes. She saw the sincerity of his feelings and started to feel something stirring within her as well. They sat in silence for a few moments, lost in thought. And then suddenly, Chica leaned in and kissed his cheek. Jacob's heart leaped with joy, and he knew in that moment that anything could be possible after all. The next days happened in a blur of excitement and anxiety for Jacob. He knew that he would have to tell his family and friends about his relationship with Chica, but he was afraid of their reactions. He spent many sleepless nights worrying about what they might say or do. Finally, he decided to take the plunge and tell them. He gathered his family and friends together, explained everything to them. Of course, they were shocked, skeptical. This had never happened before. This was an impossibility. It was strange. It was weird. And they worried about his life. After all, it was a weird little tribal creature. They had spears, they had caves, they had dungeons, and their males did unspeakable things to human women. But as Jacob spoke, they could see the fear was no longer there. He wasn't afraid. He truly loved her. And Jacob himself could see the doubt and fear in their eyes gradually give way to understanding and something like acceptance. He told them about all the good things he saw in Chica. How cute and funny she was. How much he loved her. He spoke so passionately about the future they could have together. A life of love and happiness. And to the man's surprise, his family and friends listened carefully, considered it, and slowly came around to his way of thinking. They could see how much Jacob had changed since he met Chica, how much happier and more alive he seemed. And they realized that if being with Chica was what made him happy, then they had to support him. With their blessings, Jacob and Chica started a life together on the farm. They worked side by side, planting, harvesting crops, and tending to the animals. They would often take long walks in the woods, or sit by the river and talk for hours. They were happy and in love, and nothing else seemed to matter. You're asleep. This is the first time I actually got someone to sleep. You're a good one-night guard, not a rule breaker. I think I like you. No. I'll wake you an hour before your shift ends, so you can pretend like you did your job. That's how nice I am. See you soon.
Hey, thank you for watching my video until the end. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and watch a few more. But before I say goodbye, I'd like to remind you to like the video and subscribe. That really helps the YouTube algorithm. That's all. Hope you have a good day. Until next time. Bye!